Hey. Hi, I'm Scott Swanson.
And I'm Judy Powell.
And this is BC at Work.
This week, Scott gets the acting bug, and we take a look behind the scenes of BC's film industry. BC at Work, the inside story showcasing the unions, working people, and the companies that employ them. This week, from movie sets around the city, here's Scott and Judy.
Hi, and welcome to the show. I have to apologize for Scott's absence. I haven't been able to find him anywhere. But anyways, they say in the business, on with the show. Last week, we promised we'd be taking a look at the film and television industry in British Columbia. And what better place to start than here at Marpole at the Metro Theatre, where many people in the business got their first break. In fact, there's an audition going on right now, and we're going in to take a peek.
Most people would agree that theater is the world of playwrights, actors, and actresses, tragedy, comedy, and melodrama. But there's a lot more. The director, for instance, who will guide this crew through a successful production. The producer, stage manager, prompter, and of course the players. One day they too might make it in the theater, film, or television industry.
Nothing at all. It's just well, in some perplexing way, the movement of the hand. Okay, good.
While they were continuing their auditions, I spoke with Ruth Cunningham and Jerry Amos, who have been guiding forces here at Metro Theatre.
And then as time grew on, as far as backstage help and technical, we've become very strong. In fact, Vancouver, I think, has become very strong in the technical end because of Metro Theatre.
I still feel that the basis of all technical thing is knowing it from the ground roots up, and we try and teach people this right from the beginning.
Quite a few members of IATSE, the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, learn their trade on this fly gallery. IATSE, known in the trade as simply IA, is the union representing the technicians in the film industry. It may seem a far cry from working a counterweight system to being a lead man or rigging grip, but the skills are transferable.
Wine coming in, downstage right.
The discipline and skills learned on the grid, rigging electrics, flying scenery, hanging tormentors and teasers, are a tremendous asset to working on a film set. Working in a theater like Metro, one gets the opportunity to gain a knowledge of cables, sound and lighting, ropes and knots, as well as everything associated with stage lighting, gels, gel frames, light standards, the lamps, ellipsoidals, Fresnels, spots, an incredible amount of information to absorb, yet absolutely essential for working in the industry. Searching for Scott, I ran into Jim in the lighting and sound booth. I felt a little bit like Dorothy unmasking the Wizard of Oz. The magic of the theater, the lights, sound, scenery was all there, but still no Scott. Elie Savoie, the director, whose regular job is manager of program projects at CBC, spoke to us about why people come to Metro.
It's a good haven for all kinds of talent. Good place to test your abilities, to push the boundaries a little bit. It's well equipped. It has all the amenities that a good little theater, a 400-seat theater has. It's excellent.
A long time. We only stayed 2 weeks. There were 2 of us. It all mounts up. What? Damn is damn.
Suddenly, I heard a voice I recognized, but he couldn't seem to get the words out.
Yes, of course. Damaging my whole career.
Yo, Scott.
Judy?
You ready to come back to our show now?
If you could have any job in the world, what job would that be?
Oh, something from 12 till 1 with an hour for lunch and lots of money.
And Broadbent's not afraid to stand up to the big corporate polluters who are ruining our air and water.
Our important Medicare system is threatened by the Mulroney trade deal, and Ed Broadbent is the only leader I'll trust to protect it.
We need fair taxes for ordinary people, not tax breaks for the rich. Ed'll make sure it happens.
This time, Ed Broadbent.
Send an ambulance! It's my dad! I think he's had a heart attack!
Listen carefully, I'll tell you how to do CPR. Put the heel of your hand into his chest.
No breathing, no pulse.
I just got home. When I came in, he was lying.
Give 0.5 of epinephrine.
Saving lives is only one of the jobs your ambulance paramedics do for you.
I've got a pulse here.
It's okay, Dad. You're gonna be okay.
You've got the best, except nothing less.
Scott. Scott, what are you doing?
I'm just checking to see what it looks like. Looks good.
Well, Scott is erasing his name from the dressing room. Here's Clay Perry.
What do you mean erase?
Scott, you gotta erase this. We'll get in trouble.
You can't be a star if your name's not on the dressing room.
Doesn't matter. Here.
And now, from the wrinkled, unabridged pages of his historical logbooks, BC at Work's resident storyteller, Clay Perry.
In 1934, a group of men were expelled from a relief camp for complaining about the food. They made their way into Vancouver, went into a restaurant, had a hearty meal for which they had no money to pay. The judge was sympathetic. He declared that it was really the federal government's fault for not doing their duty. But the city of Vancouver could hardly be expected to carry the burden, so he had reluctantly to sentence them to 30 days in jail. Outside the courtroom, the men burst into a round of "He's a jolly good fellow" for the judge. And later that night in jail, they entertained their fellow prisoners by singing patriotic songs. But the human experiences of the Depression were more often demeaning than amusing. Bob Smeal, who later became executive director of the Flight Attendants Union, recounts the story of trying for a job with the city of Vancouver. There had been a heavy snowfall, and the city advertised for men to clean up the streets with shovels at 40 cents an hour. And so Bob and hundreds of others stood in a lineup for hours, 4 abreast, blocks long, waiting for a few hours' employment at 40 cents an hour. But as the afternoon grew into the evening and the evening into midnight, the snow turned first to sleet and then to rain and disappeared. And the men were told to go home. Bob recalls trudging off, wet with worn-out shoes, miserably cold, down the streets. He went into a small cafe, tried to dry off. He didn't have the price for a cup of coffee. And as he stood behind the stools, trying to get warm, he recalls hearing on the radio in the cafe a minister declaring that the unemployed didn't want to work. And it was of experiences like that that the great organizing drive of the CIOs in the late 30s and early 40s was made. And that's Perry's logbook.
I'm a bartender and it's a great job, it really is. It's like it's really trendy, you got all the young people coming in, it's great, you're always happening, it's busy, always working, yeah, it's great, it really is. Bartending's great, I love bartending.
Well, I didn't get the job at Metro, so while you take a break, maybe I'll try and see if Wise Guy will hire me.
David, did you know that California grape growers dump 8 million pounds of pesticides on their grape vineyards every year? And did you know that these pesticides are toxic poisons similar to Agent Orange that cause cancer, birth defects, and even death among farm workers and their families? And did you know that the best way to stop the growers from spraying these pesticides is to stop buying California table grapes?
I know that, Martin, and so do thousands of other people who don't buy California table grapes.
Smart boy. Please join us. Don't buy California table grapes.
Lucy knows everything has to be right because we want our visitors to return.
Our work is important to all British Columbians.
Nick Warhog, president of Local 40, the hotel and restaurant workers. 10,000 men and women who make BC a great place to visit and a wonderful place to live.
We would like to make a good impression on our guests, and we are proud of the high standards of excellence we have set.
Local 40, we serve the need of our members and the province. We make the good times better in BC.
The hours were like 10 hours. It was so long. I felt like I was going to die.
The kids are asking her, what's wrong with you, Amy? Can't you read? Why can't you read?
I was really mad, you know, because I wanted to learn, but I just didn't know how.
I mean, what would have happened to them? It isn't as if my wife and I wanted them to be great academic achievers. But how do you participate in our society if you can't read and you can't write?
Bright children who are frustrated because they want to learn but need to be taught differently can find answers and understanding at Kenneth Gordon School.
Now that they've taught me how to read and everything, I'm anxious to get my library card.
It seems real enough, but it's only make-believe. The movie business is big business in BC.
Got it. Cut.
Cameras have been popping up in the most peculiar places as more and more production companies are discovering the values of filming in BC.
The bottom line reason is economics. We can do an hour of television in Vancouver, a quality hour of television in Vancouver, for less expensively than we can do it anywhere else right now. And that is the reason why we are here. Economics is definitely first. The quality and the depth of the workforce, the labor force, the diversity of locations, and the proximity to Los Angeles. Between those four, you have pretty much everything covered.
Stephen Cannell, producer of such hit shows as The Rockford Files, 10 Speed and Brown Shoe, Baa Black Sheep, A-Team, and many, many more, is now shooting 2 series in BC, 21 Jump Street and Wise Guy. Cannell Studios is committed to building a state-of-the-art production center in North Vancouver.
With 2 shows, which we have going right now, we spend approximately, for goods, services, and payroll, a little over $1 million a week.
And how many weeks are you in production a year?
We are in production for approximately 38, 39 weeks.
I mean, the dollars that arrive into the province immediately get spent in the community on other things than just film. So the dollars that are brought in by foreign producers, which amounted to almost $160 million last year, if I'm correct, immediately rolls over into $400 or $500 million impact on the whole of the province.
The BC Film Commission was established in 1978 to attract foreign productions to BC.
5-10 years ago, we were a location, and that was it. We had, you know, the majority of the crews that arrived here were imported. There was a small core of qualified technical people, but now it's, you know, well into the 90% of the crews that are working are, you know, British Columbians that work in the industry. We've become the 4th or 5th largest production center in North America, so we've had to expand our horizons along with the industry.
The industry, the unions and the producers, and the government, working together, are developing the infrastructure necessary to support such facilities as the Dominion Bridge site.
Okay, quiet please. Here we go, guys. Hold
The film and television industry is labor-intensive and job opportunities tremendous. The camera department always includes an A camera unit, and sometimes more. There's the cinematographer or director of photography, the DOP, the operator, the camera assistant, the clapper loader, focus puller, possibly a dolly grip. Then there's sound, with the sound mixer and the boom operator. We have the art director, set decorators, greensmen, the grips, props people, wardrobe, makeup, hairstylist, key grip, best boy, gaffers, cable pullers, more grips. The list seems endless, and it's not over yet. There can be wranglers, transportation coordinators, production assistants, and even more grips. Script continuity, and of course the above-the-line costs such as talent, the director, the animal stars. and of course the people who pick up after them. The Directors Guild and ACTRA represent the directors and actors, while IATSE, or IA as it is commonly known, is the union representing the technicians and camera operators. George Chapman of IA has a unique role to play in this industry. He actively endeavors to attract work to BC.
7 Jackson, take 2 mark.
My job is primarily to acquire job opportunities, to convince producers that they should consider shooting in British Columbia, put them together with the 2 IATSE locals, and assist them in concluding an agreement and shooting a movie.
For the first time, the unions and management, in this case Cannell Studios, reached agreement on a 3-year contract. This was the basis upon which Cannell committed to the North Shore Studios.
We felt that because we were building the studio, that we were up here on a full-time basis, we wanted some commitment coming back to us. So we requested that we go into negotiations. Now that process took, from initial discussions to the final signing of the contract, 18 months. But I think both sides, both management and labor, are very happy with what we have. And it was, for the most part, a very enjoyable experience for both of us.
Roll sound. We're rolling. We're rolling. Straight. Sleep 107, take 2. Mark.
5 years ago, a CBC Disney co-production, Danger Bay, joined Beachcombers in filming in the Lower Mainland. Gordon Marks worked his way up to become the production manager for Danger Bay and understands the nature of this business.
The individuals work on a freelance basis, so we are hired from the producer down, are hired for some period within a minimum of 22 weeks usually, or sometimes more for the producers and the writers. And then we're just, again, it's very common in this business, we're turfed out basically by that employer, and we either take holidays, starve, or get another job.
Because you've worked on 1 year, that doesn't guarantee you the next season should it come along.
It does more in Danger Bay than any other show. I think we have an attitude like a management attitude that encourages people to come back.
We are no longer merely a location for American productions. We have progressed beyond that, and our future must be focused on indigenous productions.
I believe that our future is founded in diversifying our work opportunities, identifying work opportunities from other countries, and in the main building an indigenous industry. Currently we have 5 productions on the books that will be financed 74% by Telefilm and BC Film, and up to 10 or 15% in additional to that by our own crews who are investing in those shows, deferring wages and other monies into the show to make it possible for local producers to compete in an international marketplace.
I think the government's commitment to start the BC Film Fund to get Indigenous production off the ground is certainly met with great applause and also great success. Like I said earlier, 6 of the productions that are shooting in the province right now are British Columbia productions, with Canadian money, with Canadian producers, with Canadian directors, with Canadian scripts. A few years ago, I'm afraid to say that that wasn't the case.
We would like to have our cake and eat it too. We would like to service foreign producers, have an indigenous industry, and frankly our model and our aspirations may not be too far off what is enjoyed in the province of Ontario, where they do have 50% of their industry locally founded.
Take 3, Mark.
Action. That was fantastic. I feel like applauding.
He says he's not the real estate man.
Cut.
Cut. Thank you.
Cut!
I think it would be fair to have a 4-day week instead of a 5-day week. I think for any job it should be a 4-day week. I think that when you spend almost more time in the office and at work than you do at home, and I don't think it should be like that.
So Scott, is this where I can find a star?
Yes, Judy.
Can I go look now?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
While Judy's gone in search of fame and fortune, we'll take this break.
you're a growing BC business with different parts of your business spread all over the map, you need someone to help tie it all together. To the Oak Bay Marina Group, that someone is BC Tel. Working to connect a series of resort and fishing charter operations, BC Tel created a top-quality voice and data system that's dependable, cost-efficient, and far-reaching. A fully integrated network that includes computer link-ups between Victoria, Ucluelet, and Campbell River, along with a telephone network incorporating radio phones and toll-free 800 service throughout the West Coast. When it comes to quality, there is someone today's business really counts on.
BC Tel?
Of course.
BC Tel. Quality. We make it a way of life.
BC at Work now profiles the Employers' Council.
Canada has become the first of the major industrialized nations of the world to post a balance of trade surplus with Japan in recent memory. According to figures as recent as October 17th of this year, Canada is exporting more products than she is importing, $126.7 million Canadian more to date. Next to the United States, Japan is Canada's most important trading partner. British Columbia exports materials to Japan and the United States on a regular basis, which in return not only provides more jobs, but also increases revenues for our province. Traditionally, Canada, the United States, and Japan have relied on each other for economic well-being. Here in British Columbia, through our strong resource-based industries, we enjoy a leading role in international trade. For the first 6 months of this year, Canada had $4.8 billion in exports to Japan alone. Leading the pack, coal and wood products, most from BC, at $1.9 billion Canadian. As well, iron ore, copper, gold, and other products from the mining industry accounted for $822 million Canadian, and it can only get better. Our province has an opportunity to increase return on exported materials by shipping out added value products to our two major trading partners. Added value products are products which have been processed to some degree here in BC before being shipped from our ports. Processing can range from the initial stages of preparation right through to manufacturing the finished product. The further we go towards exporting a finished product, the more jobs we create here at home and the greater our return for British Columbia. For instance, in the forest industry, rather than shipping out raw logs to the Far East to be processed as building materials, British Columbia will be able to create building materials like doors and windows from the logs right here at home where they were harvested, then ship them to our trading partners around the world. This would mean a growth in the manufacturing industry for BC, as well as higher returns on our finished products, and that translates into a stronger economy for the province. The business community in British Columbia shares in the belief of the labor movement that the future of our province, in fact the future of this nation, can only be enhanced with added value products.
There's a hidden opportunity in increasing our export trade with Japan and the United States. This is true because of the principle of tariff escalation, which means that as you add value to a product, the tax or tariff is increased. We want to remove these barriers so that we can keep the jobs here in British Columbia. This is something that both business and labor want.
Well, Scott didn't get a job as an extra on Wise Guy, so now he's tried out for the crew. While I go and look for him, here's Charlie.
There's a lot in the papers these days about Pacifism. I'm not talking about your unconscious dejectors won't pick up their arms. I'm talking about your specific rim of your fur east. I used to think your fur east was Newfoundland, but I'm starting to think it's British Columbia. The fellow that said go west, young man, knew what he was talking about, because if you go west far enough, you'll come in contact with your fur easterner, like your Nippon and both your Chinas, your mainliners, and your Taiwan, not to mention your Singapore, South Korea, India, Amnesia, and your Malays. That's where the business is these days. I see where Ontario Premier Daisy Peterson's all head up about everything going again his grain, and he blames the West Coast as a bunch of ship disturbers on his Great Lakes. But that's just the way the world is moving as we turn away from your European common markup and look to our Asiatical neighbors for to fill our bread baskets. And look at the way they're putting money in our country by their investitures. The green stuff is pouring in from Honky's Kong and Kuala Lumpur, and your Japanese planting plants all over Canada for to make their Hondas and their Toyota Coronary. I even hear tell Isuzu's committing some kind of merger with your Genial Motors. Does that mean they'll be changing the name of the firm to Isuzu Genial Motors? Right now down to California, they're making Chevy Novas with a Toyota engine. I can't wait to catch their advertisements on the TV with that dinosaur girl singer. See the USA in your toilet.
Well, that's it for this week's show about Hollywood North.
It's been a lot of fun traveling around the Lower Mainland, taking a look at the film and television industry in BC.
So, Scott, where are we going to next week?
I'm not really sure. Why, we could be anywhere in the Lower Mainland. We might be doing a story about you. So watch for us.
From the set of Wise Guy, this is BC at Work. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
If you have a good story about a BC union, worker, or company, write to us at BC at Work, Suite 411, 1200 West Pender, Vancouver. The producers of BC at Work would like to thank the following companies for supplying goods and services. Our show hosts travel BC in the luxury of a 28-foot motorhome provided by Okanagan manufacturers. The crew vehicle for the show is a 1988 Chevy S10 Blazer, compliments of Westminster Auto Leasing. Our fuel expenses throughout BC have been provided by the Petro-Canada dealers and agents. Our energy is Canada. While on the road, the cast and crew of BC at Work stay at Coast Hotels, the choice of the frequent traveler. Everyone on the show can stay in touch no matter where we are in the province thanks to Autotel and cellular equipment compliments of Cellular Express and BC Cellular. Aerial footage made available through the services of Vancouver Helicopters.
This week, BC at Work has been made possible in part by contributions from Labour Canada, QPBC, CUNC Health Services Society, and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 213.